Would like to know, so when you started your career as a solution architect into RPA, so UiPath was your default choice for the tool?
Also another interesting journey because um, I was kind of scared initially to do that. When it comes to RPA and AI, this is one of the trending areas, right? And this will actually play a major part of your future.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of podcast. Today I have Lahiru with me as a guest, and Lahiru is five-time MVP, author of couple of books, and a public speaker, and an amazing personality. So rest of the introduction, let's hear from Lahiru himself. So Lahiru, welcome to the show, and I'd like you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you, Deependra, for inviting me, and hello, everybody. So I think Deependra gave a high-level introduction about me, and I'll just try to add a few more information on top of that. So basically, I'm located in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and I work for Boundaryless Group, and my current role is I'm kind of heading the Asia Pacific team for our company, and also have the AI practice for our company. What I do for Boundaryless. But in addition to that, as you guys know, I'm probably basically doing a lot of things with UiPath and UiPath community, these events and all the other stuff. So that's generally me.
Awesome. Thanks for quickly introducing yourself. How's the weather at Sri Lanka?
Well, it's very hot these days.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're working at Boundaryless. Could you please describe your journey? Like, how did you join, and in what role did you join there, and how long have you been working? And what are the key areas that you focus more with respect to automation and AI?
Yeah. So just to give you an idea, I didn't start my career in AI or RPA. Basically, I was earlier into data analytics. So that's where I started my journey. So basically, in 2011, that's when I started. But up until 2019, I was into data analytics, data warehousing, BI, all this stuff. But I first got introduced to RPA in 2019, to be exact. And since then, a lot of things changed. I actually got the chance to connect with many people and do a lot of things in the RPA space. So I joined Boundaryless in 2020 as a solution architect. So that was my start. And that was mostly into RPA. From there, we started doing a lot of projects related to different domains and basically tried out different things. But over time, I was mostly researching a lot, and we started doing a lot of things around document understanding and AI. So that's when I kind of changed my role from the solution architect to document understanding, specialized in document understanding, because we did a lot of interesting work on that space. In addition to that, we were also working very closely with the UiPath product team to support on this document understanding stuff. And that kind of took me to a different angle from just being an RPA solution architect. I then completely moved to AI and intelligent document processing. Uh, and recently, I am now taking care of the AI side, especially because we all know generative AI and this everything that happened or got introduced along with that in the last few months. So there was a lot of discussions around this and a lot of interest all across the globe. So just like everybody else, we also started on that, and now I'm a lot more focused on AI. All this, as you call it, it's specialized AI, generative AI. All these things come under that. So that's where my focus is right now.
Awesome. So I'll come to you at the later part of the week, later part of our discussion on how does document understanding works and questions related to that. But prior to going there, I would like to know. So when you started your career as a solution architect into RPA, so UiPath was your default choice for the tool, or it was because the company was using that tool for doing automation, or you picked that up? So how you got entered into using or building your solutions using UiPath?
Okay, it's an interesting story actually. So back then I wasn't working for Boundaryless. I was working for a different company. So this is back in 2019, around January. That company, the management, they wanted to get a partnership with UiPath to be a partner, and that's really when I actually heard about RPA and UiPath. Before that, I didn't know anything about RPA or the software robots and stuff. It was a surprise. But in the very initial days, I wasn't much interested in doing that because I was mostly into BI related things, right? But with that announcement, everybody was really interested in exploring what UiPath can do, what is RPA and all that. And there were quite a lot of discussion happening every day in that organization within the teams. So that kind of I was getting more and more curious. What is this and what is happening here? So that's when I started. looking into UiPath, and I started basically going into the academy and following the courses we had back then. Yeah, so UiPath is the default choice at the time because that's where I started. But after getting the partnership there, then we started few initiatives like building the team internally, doing trainings, and trying to find more commercial opportunities there. So I got the opportunity to lead a lot of these things, though we did not have much like experience doing RPA, but that was more like an interesting part because I got a chance to lead a lot of engagements like that. And we did a couple of interesting stuff together. Also started the RPA community here in Sri Lanka to do physical meetups and all of those things. So yeah, that was my start with UiPath and the UiPath community.
So that's an interesting story, and it resembles to my story as well. So I started a career into RPA in 2019, similar to yours. And I, even when I got the opportunity, I was also not knowing what RPA is. And my interview was also like, I come from a .NET background, so my interview and everything was done considering that skill set in mind. And then I was put into RPA project. So basically, I got an opportunity with Automation Anywhere, the company itself, and to build a solution. And then and there I learned about RPA, what exactly RPA is, and I found that's very exciting, and then the career started. So I do like, for me, that as for you, UiPath was the default choice of the platform. For me, it was Automation Anywhere. And yeah, I mean, the journey started. So we do share a similar journey over there. And I remember meeting you for the last year when in one of the UiPath DevCon or a summit in Bangalore, where where you were giving away your one of the books, right, for certification. You have written one book, right, which is UiPath Associate Certification Guide. So you were just giving away some of the copies to the students. So that time we met, and I wanted to have this podcast with you since then, and today we are getting this opportunity. So really thankful once again to you. So taking out some time and doing this podcast. Okay, moving ahead. So that's how we know about how you get into RPA. And so I would like to know what motivated you. Like, since we are talking about the book that you wrote, I think you have authored two books till now. So the one which I remember from our meetup is that UiPath Associate Certification Guide. So what motivated you to write that book, and how long it took for you to write that book?
Okay. Yeah, it's also another interesting journey because um, I was kind of scared initially to do that because you know we are both are from Asia, right? So English is not our native language. So we know how to speak and write, but it's not that perfect English all the time. So the interesting story behind this is um, so it's not initially it was not me who had this idea. It actually came through different people, and I think there was someone from UiPath that actually nominated me to do this book, and the publisher they reached out to me saying, "Hey, we got this opportunity to write a book, and your name was proposed. So can we do that?" So that's when I actually got involved, and later I got to know that along with me we also have Nias from UiPath, and then Rajanish, one of the UiPath MVPs again. So we did that as a collaborative thing, and it was a very nice experience. But at the initial days, I was kind of scared because it was not an easy process. We took, I think, almost about 1.5 years, I think, to get that book out. So we had very tight deadlines, and we need to come up with an outline for the book. We need to finalize that with all the other people, and come up with the content again, finalize. So even when you have the content, you also need to write the content in the proper structure. So they had few guidelines that you need to follow these things and then prepare your content. So we did writing, and then we sent it for the reviews. They had a whole lot of feedback for us because we are very new. And then while you do that review and the feedback, applying the feedback, you also need to continue on these other chapters. So that's the most difficult part because it takes a lot of time, and you also need to do your usual day job, right? So we were really struggling to find the best time to write this because during daytime is not possible with all the meetings and all the other project work and everything. So we initially tried doing that in the night. So that by that time when we start, probably when we finish work, it's like almost 11 or close to midnight. And that time we are pretty much tired and it's too hard to focus on something like this. So we tried that for a couple of weeks. That didn't work. And then I tried doing that early morning before work. But that also wasn't very much working for me because if I start around 5 or 6, it's like very close to the start of the day, and I tend to get dragged into stuff. Then I thought, okay, to properly give focus for this, I need to start much earlier. So I actually started at 2:30 or 3 in the morning, and that gave me good amount of time, like at least 5 hours to focus every day to write something clear and much more in a much more focused way. So that's how we did that. And I think Raj also had a similar story. I remember he was telling me back then. Um, and we also tried to find different places to write, like in our normal workstation it's kind of difficult, but we try to go to the either balcony or try to travel to some place that has a different environment, so we can just have that relaxing mode to think and write. So it was that kind of experience.
So it was a, I know, I mean, it was a hell lot of work, but I mean, the experience you got, right? I mean, it is totally worthwhile, and seeing the result, I mean, seeing the result of the book, that it's helping the students to clear out the exam.
Yeah. Yes.
It is kind of a satisfactory uh, uh, thing for you, right? Now you are able to.
Yes. And the publisher, the team from their side was very supportive. Though we had very tight deadlines, they were very supportive, and they know that we are new to this. So every single time we have a question, they supported us quite a lot, and that was one of the key factors to make
Mhm.
a lot of credit goes to them as well.
Yeah, and also when authoring a technical book, right? The challenge I see is tech space keeps on evolving, keeps on changing. So how do we incorporate things? I mean, if we are authoring a book, we need to make sure like at least 2 3 years. I mean, that copy should be like consumable. I mean, not much of the thing should change. So that is also again a challenging thing of writing or authoring a tech.
Hmm.
You said, yeah, you said you guys like you have worked from like you used to get up at 2:30 and work on the book, and then how you used to manage your other day to day work then? Like, I mean, you must be deprived of sleep.
Yeah, it was a bit of a challenging period, and it's difficult because you need to sacrifice a lot of time from your family and all the other things as well. And the good thing, everybody was very supportive, so we did not have that kind of issues. But yeah, so it actually a lot of effort.
So what kept you going? What kept you, sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, what kept you going? What was the motivation behind let's do it, let's get to the end part of it? Like, what was that?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, there were times where, in the initial days, there were times where I think it's mainly for me as well, because there were times where we were like thinking, why did we sign up for this?
Okay.
But still, because it's a lot of effort and it's something new and it's very difficult. But again, when I was talking to Raj mainly, he was very supportive. He kept on motivating me, and at the same time, I did the same for him when he's struggling. So we just kept on doing that, and our people from the family, they also supported and motivated us. Like, you need to somehow finish this and do whatever it takes to get it to the finish line, because at the time we have been doing a lot of things in the community as well. So they were always reminding me, like, you came so far with all of these things that you have been doing, so this is also, take it as a new challenge that you can try and give it a shot. So that was the continuous motivation I have been getting.
So peer to peer motivation worked out.
uh, yes.
That's great. That's great to hear. I mean, these kind of stories are hardly we listen, right? So it is good to know the entire effort and time that goes through while authoring a book. So definitely, it's not an easy job. Kudos to you.
Yeah, and the other thing is about this technology updating, right? So we have been writing that for about 1.5 years, and I think the same thing happened for my second book. That again, I think I took about 1 year to finish that. So over time, a lot of things change. So our experience writing a book was like, every time there's a new change, we need to change our content to make it up to date. And on the release day, we need to make sure that it is on the latest possible version. So that was also another added challenge that we had in addition to reviews and writing. So you need to also change your stuff. So yeah.
That's a challenge. Yeah, I mean, I do also write a lot of technical blogs. I mean, for blog it's fine, right? We can go ahead any day and edit it, update it. Also for a course, we can push some updates through new videos. But for a book, right, which went through a publication, and I mean, you have to wait for next release of the book to incorporate your updates. So that is a real challenge. Yeah. So, I mean, you are leading AI practice at your current organization. So, what are the new AI features that are available in UiPath that you like the most, and you think that are real benefit in the automation space?
Yeah, I in UiPath especially, I like all the generative AI capabilities they have recently introduced, especially around document understanding. So we are recently talking about this active learning, then generative validation, generative classification, extraction, all of these things, which can actually reduce a lot of effort that you need to develop such solutions and also train your AI models. Because usually when you train a model, I mean, do an AI project, a lot of effort goes towards training your AI model and making sure
Hmm.
accurate results, right? So with all these capabilities they have, it can actually drastically reduce that effort that you need. So that is something that we have been looking into recently. Basically, all this AI stuff, and especially around generative AI, not just with UiPath, but generally generative AI, because that's also something you can connect with your UiPath through APIs and other connectors. So these are the two main areas we are looking into.
Okay. Okay. So coming to the next question, which comes into my mind is you authored one more book, which is document understanding, right? On UiPath's document understanding. So could you please explain in brief how does document understanding works?
Yeah. So basically, when we talk about document processing, we, depending on your use case, you may have different kind of documents. You may have, if you talk about finance, I take this example all the time because it's kind of easy to explain. So when it comes to financial stuff, you can get invoices, purchase orders, and all these different things. So if you're processing these invoices, you need to somehow first identify what kind of a document that is. And depending on the layout, whether it's structured, semi-structured, or unstructured, you need to find ways to extract the information depending on the document type. So what UiPath does is in UiPath document understanding, they have all these capabilities for you to train your model based on the different documents type that you want to extract. So for example, if it's like a semi-structured document like invoices and purchase orders, you can have a machine learning model
Hmm.
extract that information. But if it's more like structured documents, you can go for the rule based ones like regex based extractor, form extractor. And recently, if it's unstructured, you can yes go for generative capabilities to make it much more easier. So with document understanding, you have all these capabilities to process your documents, and not just to process, but to extract, organize your documents, split your documents into multiple different, basically organize your information. Like if you get one document that has multiple file like documents inside that file, you can simply split it easily with document understanding and organize your data storage. So all of these things you can do with document understanding.
So it's a, so as far as I understand, it's a low code offering, right? The person, the end user who want to use it doesn't need to know the no coding knowledge, right? It just needs to configure few things and make the model to learn from different set of samples or templates available for invoice, let's say.
Yes, I wouldn't say it's no code because you need some kind of coding knowledge, but yes, for model training, you don't need to know any coding. You have the interface, it can guide you through the whole process. But when it comes to your flow design, you need to have a little bit of coding knowledge to, build that logic, the validation, and all these things. So yes, it's a low code platform to easily get your documents processed.
And end-to-end automation can be done like using UiPath robots and then integrating it with document understanding, and then like pre and post processing work can be done by the robots.
Yes. So it's like you have a document understanding solution. So when we talk about UiPath processes, we have this concept of dispatcher performer, right? First you collect the information, then you perform. So in that context, you have the document understanding more like a guy in the middle between the dispatcher and the performer. So you collect the data, you process it, then you go and update your system. So that becomes your end-to-end solution.
Got it. Got it. Thanks for helping us understand the working of document understanding. We have a similar product in Automation Anywhere, which is known as document automation. I think there might be something similar in Power Automate and other RPA platforms, because everybody is now leveraging or creating some solutions around intelligent document processing, and that's a need of the market as well. With that, let's proceed with the next question. So, based on your uh, overall experience, right? So, what are the biggest challenge that you faced while implementing an RPA or automation solution? You might have faced a lot of, but maybe whatever comes in mind, whichever you remember, can share that.
Yeah, so basically, sometimes this can depend on different use cases or different companies that you work with. So sometimes it's kind of difficult to capture all the information. I think it's quite common across most of these automation initiatives, but there can be more difficult scenarios. I have been through several like that. I can tell you one example. This was happening in the very initial days of my RPA journey, and that's something really that I learned back then when I was trying to learn. So we were trying to do automation project for a company, a telecommunication company, and and we captured the requirement, and we actually finalized that. We did the sign-offs and we started the development. We had the diagrams, documents, PDDs, all these things ready. And halfway through the development, there was one guy coming and saying, "We have not included this part of the process, and now we need to change the entire thing that we have created." So it's basically starting from scratch. And this guy was not there at all in the initial discussion. So we were like, "Where were you all this time?" But still, yeah, it's a miss from our side as well, because we were not able to properly identify the proper stakeholders and capture that requirement. So it was a good learning point for us in the initial days of my automation journey. And that was like one scenario. But and when it comes to technical stuff, we can try to figure out the ways depending on our experience. So we have multiple people working with this, so it can be managed. But especially connecting with people, getting these requirements, and these are some of the difficult stuff that we come across time to time, because we work with different clients across the globe, and everybody has their own way of sharing this information. So it can be difficult at times.
Yeah, yeah, agree. So you have got MVP, like you have been recognized as MVP, UiPath MVP for fifth time in the row. How does it feels?
Well, it feels amazing because being MVP is like you have a lot of responsibility and you need to do a lot of things, but at the same time, I really enjoy what I do. So basically, what I feel is when you're into it, and if you have that passion to share your knowledge and work with people, connect with people, I think it automatically becomes a part of your normal life, just like you do your work in your company. So I think it's very amazing feeling to have that 5 times, and I really love doing that. So I'm always trying to find ways to do something different, do something unique, and support our community in different ways as much as possible. Yeah, so I really love that. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Congratulations once again for becoming an MVP this year. And yeah, what advice? So these days it's a craze for AI technologies, right? Every whether it's RPA developer, whether it's in general automation developer, or any other full stack developer, everybody needs to upskill themselves with AI technologies. So what advice would you like to give to our fellow RPA developers or automation developers, how they can get started or learn the concepts of AI, so that they can blend it together with their current work or current in their current RPA space, and and get ahead, and learn along with their current work, so that they don't become obsolete and they can go with the market, go with the trend. So yeah.
Yes, yeah. So basically what we do, or what I do in a way, is try to always focus on the current trends that's happening. So it can be difficult to do that every day because you can be busy with many projects and all the other things. But as a practice, if you can do like at least spend 1 hour a day just for your personal development, right? This is something I tell everybody when I get a chance. But if you can spend at least 1 hour a day, just focus on the new things that's happening, because when it comes to AI, there are new things that happen every day. Every day there's something new someone is introducing, and some new capability or a new platform altogether, and people talk about it. And so in my scenario, every day I get into different discussions where they ask about different things, like, can we do this with this technology, can we do that? And I may not have all the answers at the time, but if we try to keep ourselves up to date on these things, eventually you will get there. Like basically you are also updating your skills and just reading is not enough, because AI is a vast area and that requires a different skill set as well. Like you need to learn a little bit of Python, you need to know what all these concepts behind AI, deep learning, generative AI, how it works, right? Because today we talk about using that capabilities on the existing platforms like UiPath and on all the other technology providers. But you also need to know what happens behind the scenes to if you are to implement something, because every client that you talk to, they will have their own requirements. Some will tell that, okay, I don't want to use cloud, I need to have it on prem. So then what's your solution? And if you want to go to a specific platform, maybe you have not tried that platform at all, but how can you build or use that platform to build what they need? So those are the things that you need to always research and try. So that's the same thing I also do. I try to identify the main technology providers on these areas while reading this. I read a lot of articles and I read a lot of posts, and even try to find books on these topics,
Mhm.
depth on these things, and try to use that knowledge and try to at least get a trial account in those platforms and really try it myself. I can come up with my own use cases, right? So you don't need to have a real working project to try something. Same case with automation, right? You don't
Yeah.
paid project to build something. You can even try to automate your own stuff. So you can apply the same concept here. You can find a use case online. You can try to create your own data sources for that. You have enough capabilities now to generate your information you need. So try it every day, read it, and sign up for those different courses available online. And even in UiPath, you have this specialized AI professional certification that can give you a lot of insights about different things like AI and document understanding, communications mining. All of these things contribute to that same goal.
Hmm.
Those good courses online could be LinkedIn, could be any other platform, and find what's best for you because depending on your background, you may need different courses to get started. So if you're a beginner, you can try some easy courses first to first get the understanding about this and then get into the advanced stuff. And if you have some understanding about AI, then you can maybe start somewhere in the middle. So look for what suits you the best, but make sure you spend at least 1 hour a day on your personal growth. This is very important to stay up to date.
So there is no dedicated path or dedicated course. It has to be like you have to get some time, get into the habit of reading something new, what's going on in the technology apart from your day-to-day work, and then try to learn those things step by step and do hands-on rather than reading a lot of theory. Try to do small use cases, POCs at the personal level. So that would help people to upskill themselves and stay ahead in the market.
Yeah. And even if you like do something interesting, just make sure you share, even within your company, right? You can just talk to your manager and show that you have built something like this. Maybe they can also have some different ideas which you can develop internally if it's not for a client. So that way also you get more exposure to creating this stuff. So try all the possible ways.
Mhm. Yeah. Thanks for sharing those insights. What are your thoughts on future of RPA? I keep on getting some DMs or queries from my subscribers or my Instagram followers, right? So they keep on asking, right, is RPA dying with the invent of this Gen AI and all AI based like AI agents or automation which will be powered by AI? Is RPA somewhere dying? I mean, what is your take on future of RPA?
Well, I don't say that RPA will die, but there will be changes on how we implement these RPA solutions. So at the moment, initially before AI, we tried to do different automations, right? We started with initial like VB scripting and those kind of stuff, limited to different applications. But over time, with the technology improving, it got much more. You had more capabilities to do a lot more different things. And now with AI, again, you have that extra capability to even do more complicated things. Now, the different story here is with generative AI because it has the capability to generate code and even review your stuff. So just think about in that way, like it cannot replace RPA fully, or it cannot replace you fully because you have your experience, you have your knowledge that is unique to you, and no AI model can replicate that. But the thing that can happen is when you try to adapt these things, it will change how you do stuff. Maybe in the future you may not write the code, right? It There will be even today with UiPath you have this copilot feature, right? It generates the code. You just need to type what you need. And same with ChatGPT. If you want to write a Python code, you can give the scenario and ask for the code. It will give you. So what's different is you can know the basics. You can have that capability to write everything from scratch. You can be very talented on that. But now we need to change that a little bit. You can have the same strength, but now think about what you can do different, adapting to these technologies. So today with Copilot, let's say for example, you can build a code, build a solution, but is that it? No, because there can be more things that you can do there. You can be the architect behind this, right? So you can find ways to write these prompts in a different way so you can build a much more creative and much more quality code solutions. So that's something different.
And always
Automation will be there.
yeah, sorry to chip in, but whenever there is a system generated code or such kind of solution, so it needs a human eye. Like we need to evaluate, we need to tweak some code because it is not perfect as we want it to be in production grade system. So definitely there would be a skill set needed behind that also. It I see them as a productivity hack. Maybe if you were to start from a scratch writing the entire automation, it gives you a skeleton and few modules to pick and develop and get started as a boilerplate code or more than boilerplate code. So I see that those features as a productivity hack, increasing the speed of a developer, so it enables you to develop more solutions in less time. So I see them in that way, and yeah, developers can also start looking from that aspect.
Yeah, that also kind of relates to my previous point about upskilling yourself, right? And that's these are the things that you need to explore and see what's happening around you. And that way, when you keep on reading or keep on looking into the new trends, you can also find areas that you have interest and you can explore on that and build your next skill set on that area. And somewhere down the line, you can say, hey, I know this stuff. I know how to do this. And that's what's important.
Got it. So yeah, from this discussion, one more point, like one more keyword popped up in my mind, that is hyperautomation. So what is your take, or just your few thoughts on hyperautomation, like what exactly it is?
Yeah, so I think with hype automation, that basically covers a lot of stuff. So basically, pretty much all the automation solutions that we talk about falls into this hype automation, where we utilize different capabilities, not just the automation, like OCR and object detection, all these stuff. So again, with hype automation also, with this new trends and new technology, that also evolves over time, right? All this, not just AI, but all the other things that are related to hype automation solutions that you build, those things will also evolve over time, and you will have different ways of creating the same code. Like, for example, if it's UI automation, earlier it was different a few years back, but now you have much more advanced capabilities to build a UI automation solution. So things are changing, and even with hyper automation, you need to keep on updating yourself. So irrespective of where you are, whether you are a business analyst, whether you are a developer, solution architect, infrastructure, whatever the industry you are in, you need to improve.
Yeah, upskilling is the key. So um so yeah, I mean, it is great having this interaction, and I like to keep going and going, but considering the fact that we have time limits, so I would ask you probably a last question, and that would be in the interest of the audience. And what advice would you like to give to the individuals that are interested in pursuing career into RP or automation space?
Yeah. So I think when it comes to RPA and AI, this is one of the trending areas, right? And this will actually play a major part of your future. If you are starting today, if you are a fresher, in somewhere down the line, this will be one of like the mandatory capabilities that you need to have. Just like you need to know how to operate a computer, that will be in that level somewhere down the line. So and it will, whatever the industry you are in, RPA, automation, AI, these things will be a part of your life eventually. It is happening now. So it's always good to explore, and you may not be a programmer. You may come from a different non-technical background, but see what's going on and how you can adapt to these changes. You don't need to create automation solutions all the time, but you can be a person who understand these things, and you can try to drive different initiatives in a different way. So you can also take different roles in your organization when it comes to these areas.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for sharing those insights, and sharing all the, like, all based on your experience, right? Or whatever insights you shared. So I'm really grateful to have this conversation with you. Hopefully, it would be beneficial for the audience, whoever watches this, and there's some value out of the conversation that we had. I would like to thank you again for taking out your time.
And thank you, Dipendra, for inviting me for this. It's actually a great opportunity to connect with you and be a part of this session. So thank you a lot for that.
It's my pleasure. And I would like to know from you, how's your experience coming to this podcast and the conversation that we're having? What is your take on this?
Yeah, I think it's a good experience because through this kind of podcast, we can actually share a lot of things, and not just about technology, but also about our journey. And the good thing is, I was able to freely like talk about the whole journey, the experience, and even take out different examples and share what's really happening, so that other people can also benefit from it, right? So it's a smooth and a very nice experience doing this with you. So thank you again.
Just want to add one disclaimer: the opinions that are expressed in this podcast are our own. Thanks, Lahiru, for joining me on this podcast. So I look forward to connect with you in future. Thank you.